when I was doing A-levels, was it possible for me to do better if I was doing it in the year 2021? At that age, it's just TripleConnect.co website. Hello, my name is Alexandra. I'm head of media at TripleConnect, and I would like to discuss a recent rise in A's and A-stars. And well, for me, it's quite shocking because I was an A-level student some years ago. I'm 23 right now, and you can count when I was an A-level student. And so it was so different back then, than it was this year. And I think anyone could relate, anyone who did A-levels before this year. So that's what I actually want to share with you guys, what I think about this. But first, let me tell you about my own experience. My name is Alexandra, and I came from Russia. I came from Russia to study A-levels in the UK. I was studying in Random House, Bearwood. Back then it was called Bearwood College, I think, as far as I remember. But yeah, basically, the subject I was studying was, in my first year, was geography, economics, maths and further maths, and I dropped geography for my second year because So yeah, basically I dropped geography and I focused on maths, further maths and economics instead, so that I can actually do even better at those subjects. However, I was predicted to get A-star in maths and A in further maths, but I got A in maths and B in further maths, so my first choice told me not that time. And my first choice was UCL, so I didn't get into UCL. However, right now, living all this through, I'm actually really happy. And guys, if you failed your A-levels, maybe potentially it's just university on you. You need to study something else, something different, and honestly, I apply for clearances. Clearances are the fact that clearance exists as a feature of this country is a really good thing. I think it exists in my country as well, but it's not that popular. And here you can really get into good uni. In Russia, I don't think you can actually get into really good uni through clearance, but here I got into work and I was studying philosophy. So that's a little bit about me. Next, as I already mentioned, I am head of media at TripleConnect, and let me tell you a little bit about what TripleConnect is. TripleConnect is a platform for A-level students to connect together in terms of the subjects that they're studying. For example, if you study biology and you really want to revise biology with someone, but revising with friends is not an option because when you revise with friends, you mostly talk about life and everything else, and you just have so much in common. Why would you even talk about subjects? Yeah. So you can't revise with friends, but you also don't want to revise on your own. You don't want to isolate yourself from the world as a whole. You want to be social. You don't feel like isolation is your thing. So that's who TripleConnect is for. And also it's for people who want to get really good grades, who want to schedule their A-level life, A-level period of life, and to get really good grades, to get into really good uni. We'll talk about the spike in recent grades later and discuss whether you actually need to study, whether you actually need to bother so much studying from now on, or you can just be nice with your teachers and get good grades. Who knows? Who knows? So the way TripleConnect works is that you submit first you go to TripleConnect.co website, you submit your email address, your preferences, what kind of person you want to talk to, and then what kind of person you are, and then all the details about your A-levels, what exam board it is, and what subjects you're studying, and what subjects you want to study with a study buddy. And then we at TripleConnect help you to find a study buddy so that you can schedule sessions and revise together. In terms of getting really good grades on A-levels, I usually like to talk about being motivated versus being consistent. When you're motivated, you're motivated at some point in your life, but then you can't be motivated all the time. You can't be motivated through all of the 2 years of A-levels. You can't be equally motivated all the time. It's not possible, I'm telling you. But what you can do is that you can be consistent. You can be consistent in terms of how much you study and when you study. You can schedule sessions with your study buddy, like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Obviously, depending on the workload. Maybe at the beginning you just need to do it every Monday, just revise little topics together. Or for example, if every Monday you have a test, like we did in our school, then you can have a session every Friday or every Saturday for 1 hour to revise a certain subject so that you will do good in your test. And why is it good to do it with study buddy rather than with friends? Because with study buddy, this 1 hour that we have for you to revise, you just revise, because that's an hour for revision. That's scheduled, that's your commitment, and you can't avoid it. It works.
TripleConnect has been an awesome experience. I believe it's one every student should have, as it has allowed me to meet lots of new people, nurture my communication skills, and get comfortable around
TripleConnect.
And now, a little bit on the topic of A's and A stars this year. What's going on? I heard that this is the hardest year to study. I heard that it's the hardest year for everyone.
A violation. That's very muggy. That's like a statement saying you're a prick. I'm not gonna let
to actually do good. Like lots of studying was interrupted for students, right? Was it? And all of the assessment was different, so it was probably harder because you didn't used to it. And I also saw TikToks of A-level students saying how upset they are that they didn't have A-levels.
So A-levels are cancelled just like that. What's the alternative going to be? I'm actually so gutted. I wanted these exams so bad.
Like a proper exam A-levels. But then there are so many A's and A stars, and like, does it mean that exams were easier this year if everything else was harder, like overall, but then exams were easier, or like assessment was easier, or like teachers were actually grading students as they wanted to grade them? And I mean, that's cool. That's possibly cool for students. And at the same time, when you think about the demographic overall, and if more people receive A stars, so there will be more competition to get into universities. So probably there is really little clearance this year, little clearance available. So how does this work? And then another question I have, how is it going to work next year? Is there going to be a proper exam board? And just imagine if next year grades are not going to be as high as this year because, well, people are going to actually do proper exams and it's not going to be just assessed by your own teachers, by your teachers that were teaching you, but it's going to be assessed by like third parties, and are grades going to go down again? And so does it mean that when you're applying for jobs in the future after university, if you're applying for jobs, how are recruiters going to look at it? Like, are they going to prioritize people that the class of 2021, are they going to do it? Or are they going to actually know that the class of 2021 was doing it, you know, the other way around kind of thing? I'm just really like having all these questions and thinking, what do people think about this? And then also, if you're wondering why I have purple lamp, that's because I really like purple light. No, that's also because TripleConnect is actually having purple color as our main purple color, so I thought I could integrate it in my video. But yeah guys, please, tell me what you think about this. First, is it fair? Is it actually fair that people received high grades? And second, what are your predictions for the next year? Are people next year going to receive lower grades than this year, like overall? And also third, are recruiters going to look at people from the class 2021 that got really high grades than usual? Are they going to look at them how? Like, oh, your grades don't count, or wow, so many A stars, like you're really good workers, you will get all the jobs, here you are. Yeah, how do you think it's gonna work? Please answer these questions or any of these questions in the comments below. Thank you guys.